Good morning. Morning, Barbara and Ruth and Deb. Um, Happy Friday, end of the week. Another week gone. It's like the middle of August already. I don't even know how that happened. It feels like yeah, summer is practically over now, which I guess it kind of is. I don't know. Time marches on, no matter what. Kind of cloudy here today, but very humid. I don't know I don't know what it's supposed to be for the weekend. Hopefully, we'll get some good weather. Hi, Dora. Well, I hope everyone is well. I'm trying to think if anything interesting happened yesterday. No, I went out to look for my snake eggs in my garden and I couldn't find them, but it was kind of raining, so I didn't look that hard. I might look again today. Um, my son wanted me to get a picture of them, which I will probably try to do if I can find them again. Um, yeah, that's about it. Um, I think today we're going to talk about love again. I know we've talked about this before, but love is, kind of a central element of a lot of what we're talking about. And, by love, we mean like the big L, love, not what we might think of as love. And I think in our culture, we don't have a very broad understanding of love per se. Um, we think of love primarily as, a romantic thing, or maybe the love you have within the family, for children and parents and such. But we had, in times past, there was a much broader and more complicated understanding of love. Um, and I remember talking about this last time we did, and I didn't bother to look it up right again. But ancient Greece, I think, they had maybe 20 different types of love, specific, love between friends, love between um, an older person and a younger person, love between, just specific. And they all were appropriate. And, it was fine to be very attached to people. Um, there was not kind of that we almost have like a feeling that somehow that is inappropriate, that sort of attachment and deep connection between people that aren't either related or having a romantic relationship. And I think that's a shame. I think that really waters down what could be a very important and beautiful relationship in your life. Certainly the bond between friends is frequently much longer lasting than romantic arrangements that can fall apart within, anywhere from a week to certainly much longer. But you can have friends your entire life, people that you have known as a child and grow up and connect with, and each other in a way that perhaps no one else really knows you. Um, and they've seen you change and you've seen them change. And that's pretty amazing. So don't ever feel like that is unimportant. Um, any form of love that we feel for other people is great. Um, Love in that sense is, right, that sensation of caring a great deal for the welfare of another person, um, having their needs um, seem sometimes primary, to our own, right? We may do things for people that we love that we wouldn't bother to do for ourselves, right? Um, but again, right, we need to look at that, and love needs to also be extended for ourselves. Hi, Sue. Well, I'm glad you could make it. Um, so, when we have love, when we feel love for other people, what we're really doing is we're tapping into that sense of self. Um, and that's why, we have that saying, right? You can't love anyone else until you love yourself. Right? And if you think of that and you don't really understand this concept of like the greater self, it can be kind of a confusing thing that people say. You think, well, I don't understand. What do you mean? I got to love myself and then I'll love other people or something. Um, you have to love the greater self, right? It's not that you have to think you're great. Morning, Rachel. It's not that you need to, be full of ego and just think that you're the best thing on earth. You have to love yourself, the self. Again, the big S self, right? And when we recognize that in ourselves, we can then recognize that in other people. And then we can really love everybody because we are and they are, we are all one, right? So you are feeling that positive energy, that connection with someone, that's something that you can have with everyone, right? There is a level on which you can connect with everybody because we all share that. Um, Now, it doesn't mean you're going to like everybody, right? And you may like certain people more than others. You may enjoy aspects of their personality more than others. Um, and that's where, you know, that maybe that preference comes in, where you prefer to be with this person as opposed to that person. But we still love, right? We have love and concern for everyone. And again, when we have this, it's not hard, right? That idea um, that we are going to put maybe the welfare of someone else above our own selfish need is just a part of understanding that we're all connected, right? That what you do to help someone else is helping yourself. Um, it isn't all about taking care of your little selfish needs, because that, even though you think, right, you think that that's going to get you what you want, it won't. The only thing that's going to get you what you want is to step out and do something for a greater good. Um, that is going to come back and do what you want. Um, so that's sort of, again, it's almost like, oh, okay, um, you can think of loving others as self-serving. I mean, it is, because you will also be helping yourself. Um, so that's the best kind of self-serving, right? Not uh, selfish in this tiny way, but selfless in a very big way. Um, and we've had through the years, right? You have all these things, and um, I wish we did a better job of explaining this whole idea of love and everything to people. I don't think it's clear, so we get messages like "Love is all you need," right? Popular song, "Love is all you need," And you think, well, that's silly. I don't need that. What I really need is some money. Or maybe I need a hamburger or something. I don't know, right? We have physical needs that on the surface don't seem like they're connected with love at all, right? But in truth, um, that big L love is all we need. When we are working for the greater good and for the love of everyone, those other things kind of fall into place. Um, it doesn't mean that we aren't taking care of ourselves and caring about our welfare and our financial well-being and all that. But you will see when you are working on those paths that opportunities come to you, that things will kind of open up and become more available. Um, I remember when I first started teaching yoga, I was like really worried. Oh my gosh, am I going to get any opportunities to teach? And I worried about it. I had a class I was teaching at a studio, and I felt like, I don't know, like I really want more classes. Can I get more classes here to teach? I felt very stressed about that. Like one class wasn't enough. I want to have more and more. And I did take on so many more classes at different studios doing different things. Um, and as I was doing that, I was, like really afraid, like, am I going to lose this class? Am I not going to have an opportunity to do this? But as I taught more, um, and stopped worrying about that so much, and actually, I had a time where I was sick and I wasn't feeling well, and I could see that I was just really overworked. So I started dropping some classes from my schedule, the ones that were furthest away to start. Um, and I realized that as I felt better and was doing better with my classes, um, I was being offered more opportunities to teach, and they would just sort of pop up. Someone would call me, I would get an email, something would happen. And I think that's kind of how it is for a lot of things. When you're doing things that aren't just about your own selfish desire, right? Um, things come up. And then you have, your choice. You can do this or not do this. Um, and that kind of makes everything sort of go round. Um, what they say in yoga is what you are chasing is actually chasing you. So, what you think you are trying to achieve, you're working so hard. You think, I'm struggling so hard to get this, to get that, to get the other thing. All of those things, all of those good things, love, relationships, good jobs, success, money, all of those things are chasing you, right? They're there. They're trying to catch up to you. If you would just slow down for a minute and see, um, pay attention to what is being offered, to um, what you're feeling inside. What are you hearing? Um, so, big L love. Um, it's important. And it's the hardest thing we may ever do, um, but also the easiest thing, right? As easy as it is to love your child or your grandchild or your grandmother or your mother or your father, that natural feeling that arises, um, we can have that for other people, but it takes a bit, right? We really need to get to know the self. And when we do that work inside and we are connected with the self, right? All the stuff that we do, the meditation, the breathing, the getting into this internal space, it brings us closer to this space, brings us closer to other people who are in that space with us, right? We all are in that space. But a lot of people don't even know that space exists. And those are the people that it's very, very hard to love, right? Because they are oblivious to it. And as a result, they live their life a lot of times in ways that is very damaging to other people. Um, so this is another thing, right, that we say, and so we say it in yoga, but you hear it a lot in popular culture too, is that the reason we don't get along with some people is because they are a sort of a reflection of what's going on with us. So what that means more than that you have a problem with that is that you can see what their problem is, right? So when you see someone who's being very selfish, you may not want to be around them. Um, but you also can see that, right? You can see, oh my gosh, they're being so selfish. And you know that you probably struggle with that yourself. We all do. Um, so you may not want to be around that person, right? You may be able to understand what their issue is, but that doesn't mean you can change it. It doesn't mean that they are a person that you want to hang out with, but you can still love them. You can love them in their imperfection, in their struggle that we all are struggling with. Um, so there's no room for hate in yoga, only love. You can't hate someone because they're different, because you fear them, because you don't understand them, even if they have done terrible things. To hate is to disassociate yourself. Um, and we can't do that because we are all part of this, like it or not. um, so that is, it's hard, right? That's a very hard thing. It would be great if we could just look at someone and say, this person is just a monster. They are not even human. Sad fact, they are indeed human. Right? We all have the capacity for tremendous evil, but tremendous good as well. We get to choose which one is it going to be. So today, let's do some tremendous good in our practice. Um, no evil, okay? So as you are moving through your practice, maybe you want to send some love to someone or something, some issue, some problem. Sending out that sense of love, acceptance, right? Love is acceptance. Love isn't, I will love you when this happens, when you change. No. Mm-mm. Love is, I love you now the way you are. You don't need to change. I will always love you just the way you are. Would I like it if you started doing the right thing? Yes, I would love that. But my love is not conditional. If you decide you want to do this forever, I will still love you because you are me and we are one together. So the Beatles got a lot of things right with the things they said. Problem is, we just don't understand it. We understand it in a very tiny way. Um, so all you need is love, but you also need a job and some other things in your house. Um, but in your mind, in your heart, all we need is love. So, yoga asana now. My business. Okay. Sitting up tall, shoulders back. My shoulder is bothering me today. Deep breath in and then let the head hang down. Lifting back up, chin lifts. Head back to center and then moving over to the right. Try not to force this, right? It's tempting to lift your shoulders or try to kind of inch something along here, but try not to do that. Then we're moving to the left. Some days it's not feeling great. So we just don't go that far with it. Bring the arms out in front. And then fingers pointing toward the body. Lean back. And back up to your seat. Arms wide. Deep breath here. Hands together as you exhale. Inhale, arms wide. Then exhale, hands together. One more. Inhaling. And then exhale. Hands together, interlace the fingers. Lift the palms, gaze up. Arms down by your side. Inhale, lift. And lower. One more lift. Right hand down by your side. Reach across. And opposite way. Back up. Left hand on right knee. Sit up tall for your twist. Back to center. And twist again. Back to center. Tabletop. And we're going to work through cat-cow for a few breaths. Inhale, lift the head, drop the belly, and then reversing that on the exhale. Finish up, so you're back to tabletop, then sitting on the heels for child's pose. Maybe stack the fists, rest your forehead. Back up, tabletop, downward dog. Bicycle the legs out a little bit. Walk the feet up to the hands. In your fold for a couple of breaths. So So we're going to just lift the heels. Well, no, actually, no, not that at all. We're going to bend the knees without lifting the heels. So you might have the feet close together or maybe a little bit apart. And then we're just going to bend the knees slightly. And without lifting the heels, you'll feel how this really moves in through the hip. Then we're rising up slowly. Standing tall, breath in. And breath out. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, we're going to step back with the left foot. Drop your knee, arms overhead. Hands to center. Take a breath. And then we're turning to the right. So you could hook the elbow. Or you can stay more upright. Moving back to center, right hand down by the foot, left arm lifts. And then left hand down on the mat, maybe more towards the edge of the mat instead of being close to the foot. So you feel balanced here, right arm lifts. And then both hands to the mat, working into kind of a lizard here. And just leaning into the hands as much as you want. The more you lean forward, the more intense the stretch is. And then from here, we're going to move into pigeon. So pigeon, if it's in your practice, that's great. If you don't feel like pigeon is going to work for you, you can do supine pigeon, which is when we're on our back and we're drawing that leg into the chest, right? But you can give this a try. So we're walking the right foot across, setting the shin down. So we want to try to keep this shin as parallel to the front of the mat as you can. But the more you draw that foot in close to the body, the easier this pose gets, right? So if you feel like this is too much, just bring that foot in closer and it won't be so intense. So wherever you are with this, and if you don't want to be with this at all, you can come back to child's pose, right? You don't have to do this at all. Some people, the hip is tight and you just don't want to do it, and that's fine. So we're here to start, and then maybe you want to come down. Come down on the elbows, forearms, maybe further down. Just see what is going on today. and breathe. So intense hip openers like this can really stir things up, right? We're getting into some of those energy centers, some of those, we talk about the chakras, right? Those wheels of energy. We are really releasing that in these poses. So you may feel some emotions, you may feel angry, and not just because, it's uncomfortable or something, but you may have like a wave of anger or sadness or something coming from these poses. So just let it go. Just let it release from the body. We hold emotions sometimes, our own emotions or ones that we pick up from people around us, which is why it's great. Like a yoga is a great release for those type of things. So if you've been in kind of an angry situation or stressful situation, movement afterwards is great, right? Because it helps move all that stuff out of the body so we don't have to hang on and have it kind of rattling around in there, giving us trouble. Okay, back up. If you weren't there already, which you could be, you don't have to stay in here. So we're going to flip that back toe, plant the hands, and lift up. Right leg lifts, three-legged dog. So you could extend the leg, you could bend the knee, kind of hang that right foot out. And then squaring things back off, set the foot down. And then walk, feet up to the hands. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Arms overhead. Back to mountain. Breath in. And breath out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, right foot steps back. Set your knee down, arms overhead. Hands to center. Deep breath in, and then twisting to the left. Back to center. Left hand down by the foot. Right arm lifts. And then right hand down by the edge of the mat. Left arm lifts. Both hands down to the mat. Kind of moving into lizard. Breathe. And then getting into pigeon, either this pigeon, supine pigeon, or child's pose if you don't want to fool around with any of this. getting set up and then either staying up or coming down. And breathe. Moving back up. Plant the hand, flip that back toe, and then we're lifting up. Three-legged dog, left leg lifts. You can bend it, kind of hang it out over that right side. And then square it off, set the foot back down. Try not to kick the couch. And step the feet up. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Arms up overhead. Back to mountain. Breath in and breath out. And let's come on down to the seat. So we've got soles of the feet together. Sitting up tall. Take a deep breath. And then we're leaning forward. So just moving to the place where you start to feel everything gets quite tight. We hold here and breathe. And as you are holding and breathing, you may feel things loosen back up a little. So our first impression, right, or the first thing our body does is tighten up, right, to protect the joints and everything, right? You want to make sure that things aren't going to go too far. But once you've kind of established that you are being careful and not rushing into something, a lot of times you'll find there may be a little more in there. Right? So you could try a little more, right? But not too much. And if things don't feel like you have more room, then just stop. Don't push it. And then moving back up. Let's bring the legs wide. And then we're going to fold forward, keeping the toes up. My toes are always kind of trying to hang down. So keeping the toes up. Folding forward, you could bring hands down onto the feet if that helps, or out in front. moving back up, legs together. And we're gonna bend the right knee, hug it in, sitting up tall. And then lowering that knee out to the side. You can have the foot up next to the thigh, or you could bring it on top of the left leg, right? So if you do that, make sure you have it above the knee. You're not pressing down on the knee joint. But whichever one you're doing, we're going to sit up tall, take a deep breath, and then reaching forward with the left hand, folding. Come on back up. And then we're going to bring this right foot to the outside of the left knee. Okay? Left hand on the leg, right arm behind you. Sit up tall, deep breath, and then twist. Back to center. And let's switch things around. So hugging the left knee in, sitting up tall. Then lowering the knee, whatever you did, either foot by the thigh or foot on top of the thigh. Take a deep breath, and then we're reaching forward with the right hand, and breathe. Back up, set your foot down. Reverse this time, so now right hand is on the knee, left arm behind you. Sit up tall and take a twist. So doing this sort of thing with the legs isolates the whole hip area so that any twisting that's happening is happening from this upper spinal area, not the waist. Right? We can all twist at the waist. We know that. we don't need to work on that. We need to work on this spinal mobility. Back to center. Both legs out in front. Deep breath in, fold forward. And then moving back up, let's flex the feet. Pull them in, press them forward. And then we're going to rotate. So you can do it however you want. Looks like my feet are going opposite directions. But you could do them both the same direction. It doesn't matter as long as you do the opposite, right? So now we're doing it that way. Now we're going to do it this way. Okay. And then bend the knees, soles of the feet to the mat. Ready to lower down or rock back. So we're resting on the mat. Take a few breaths. And then we're going to extend the left leg long. Hug that right leg in. We're going to bring the hands behind the thigh. And then extending the leg as much as you can. So if you are feeling flexible, you can grab a hold of the toe here. You could do that. And then just release it back down. And we're going to switch. Just hugging the left leg in. And then extending the leg. You can hold here, or maybe catch a hold of the toe. And bend the knee. Extend the leg long. Take a few breaths, relaxing the body. Maybe bring the arms up over your head. And we're going to do that banana asana. If you've done this in class, you know, I don't have no idea what it's called except for banana asana. So what it is you've got hands overhead, you've got the feet extended. And then we're just going to move the hands and the feet to the right. And it doesn't have to be a big movement, just a small one. So you'll feel some stretch along this left side. And if you could see your body from above, you would look maybe like a banana or a little sliver of a moon. If you want to do more, you can bring that left leg on top. It's more of an intense stretch. And then back to center. Moving the other way, so to the left. And breathe. And then back to center, arms by your side, palms up. Just take a few breaths here. Hug the knees into the chest. Rock a little side to side. And then extend the legs straight up. And you can lower both legs together or one at a time. And then finding Shavasana. Steady with the breath. Relax. So when we love ourselves, we recognize our self in the big S, self. Right? We may not like everything about ourselves, about our habits or our actions, or there may certainly be things we want to change in our life. It doesn't mean that we are self-satisfied, right? But it means we have a love for ourselves just the way they are. You can love without expecting more, right? We can always hope for more, expect a little more from ourselves. Um, we wouldn't be here if we didn't expect more. Right? We want that positive change. We want to um, be more at peace, feel more at home in our skin, have more acceptance of ourselves and others. Right? Those may all be things that you maybe aren't very happy about yourself. Maybe those are things you struggle with and you feel like you could do better. By all means, loving yourself doesn't mean ego, and it doesn't mean thinking you're perfect and, you know, everything you do is great and wonderful. It means you are part of the self. There is a part of you, the real part of you, that is perfect, that all of us have that's perfect. We just cover it up with all this junk, right? We have piled up years and years of things, experiences, ideas, misinterpretations, dumb stuff, right? So think of yourself, big self, as this beautiful treasure hidden in the back of a closet, right? It's beautiful in there, perfect. And if you could just get to it, that would be great. But there is so much stuff, right? And all that stuff has to go. We need to make our way through it, let go, um, burn through it, right? So we let go of those things. We burn through them. We've talked about tapas, right? That's a way to get through that junk, is to just work at it, to work, to put that effort in. Um, and eventually we get we get to that place, right? But the love comes in to knowing that it's there, right? We know it's there. We can love that about ourselves, even if we know we're not perfect. We know that we've got a ways to go before we can actually get to that perfect self. Um, just having it, right? That's what is important for all of us. And when we can remember that, when we can really remember that, there is no fear, there is no anger, there is no hate, just love. So, beginning to move around a little bit, fingers and toes, hands and feet. And when you're ready, making yourself up, or making yourself up. Don't do that. I don't know what that means. Moving yourself up to a seat. We'll bring hands together. Deep breath in and out. Thank you for joining me for yoga today. I hope you have a beautiful day. Namaste. Okay, moving right into meditation. Just a short one, right? 5 minutes. That's all we're doing. We may amp it up later on, but for right now, we're just going to do 5 minutes. So, sitting comfortably. You can sit on a cushion or in a chair. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do, just so you feel nice and upright. You want to be upright so you have room to breathe. Close your eyes. Relax the shoulders. Deep breath in and out. And then, you can do a normal breath, right? Trying to keep the body relaxed. So it's maybe a slightly deeper breath, but you don't have to really exaggerate it. It may just kind of do whatever it does on its own. But maybe deeper breath to start. I often notice during meditation that my breath gets much smaller, and that's fine because you're not really doing anything. You don't need a lot of breath. So that's very normal. Focusing on that space between the thoughts, between the images, letting all of the thoughts and images go, noticing them but not getting involved with them. So when you're ready, opening the eyes again, maybe moving around a little. Okay, hopefully that was good. I know I was having a little trouble with that. My mind was kind of all over the place. So my mantra was, love is all you need. Love is all you need. Love is all you need. So sometimes I use mantra, which is, just a word or phrase. It can be, like a real mantra, like a Sanskrit mantra, or it can just be some words that are meaningful to you. As long as you aren't going to get distracted. The benefit of the Sanskrit mantra is that the sounds, the vibration of the sounds are very healing. Um, and also, you don't know what it means. I mean, you might know what it means, but you don't have an association with it because it's not a language you speak. So it doesn't remind you of something else, right? You don't go off on some tangent like you do sometimes when you're using words in English. So um, that can be helpful. But yeah, today, love is all you need. It's a pretty good mantra. It's not bad, and it's easy to remember and to repeat. So maybe make that your mantra for today or the rest of the days. I don't know. All right, that's it for Friday. I will be back tomorrow. Maybe see you then, or I might see you Monday because I know a lot of people don't come on Saturday, which is good. So have a good weekend. Enjoy your day, and I will be back tomorrow.